My name is Angela Willnerd. I'm a first grade teacher at Linden Elementary in Fremont, Nebraska. I have been doing LtoJ for about 3 years now. Our first grade team did some research on the internet and figured out a little bit about LtoJ, and we tried it on our own without being trained, and then we were officially trained 2 years ago, and we are now using it school-wide for spelling and math.
So tell me how it's changed your thinking about teaching.
I think that I really appreciate the data that I get from the kids. I'm a big data geek, and I like to look at that information. I feel like as an instructor now, I look at the whole year. I don't look at just, as far as spelling goes, like just the at family or the and family or just teaching the particular vowel of the week. I do instruct as the curriculum says, but then I also go beyond that and teach what they're going to need for the whole year with whatever comes up on LtoJ, because I feel like they're ready for things at different times, and I feel as an instructor it's made me a lot stronger and a lot more aware of what they need and what they're ready for, rather than just the content at the particular time it's said.
People would think that if you didn't tell first graders on Monday what words they were going to be asked to spell on Friday, that it would be cruel to pull them out of a bucket, 12 out of 150. What's your experience? What do the kids think?
The students at first, they've never done spelling in first grade or in kindergarten before. Now our kindergartners are trying it, but I've never had a student be upset about the list. There are a few high achievers that think they should get all 12 right the first time. But when I explain to them, right now we're looking for just getting 3 out of 12. We haven't learned everything yet, so let's just look at this. The words are going to be some words you know, some words you don't know. You just give it your best effort. Often I tell them to write it in more than one way and then find the best way that looks right. No one's really had a major problem with it, and I feel like parents are pretty supportive of what they've been able to do, and the kids are really excited once they see their growth. At first, the first time when they just see 3 out of 12, sometimes that's disappointing to some of the high achieving students, but the next week if they get 4 or 5 or 6, they're excited as they see their growth, and it really builds throughout the year.
We just spent the morning in your classroom, or part of the morning, and I noticed that the first graders were doing basically every graph.
Yes.
Now, the first day of first grade, they don't do all the graphs.
No.
So talk about the transition as you gradually turn it over to the kids.
Okay. At the beginning, when we are doing the spelling part of LtoJ, we give the test, and then I correct it later. I give it back, and they start with just coloring their individual graph, and I have corrected it separately, and I have done the histogram myself. I do that part. I show the histogram to them so they understand what it is and talk about how I've done it, but they don't have a part in that, and then I also graph on the class run chart as well. They mostly at the beginning just do their individual graph. We'll do small group graphing at the beginning just with them with their graphs, individual student run charts, and then slowly I'll pull them and give them more freedom to do that, and then I will pull them in small group and show them how to do the histogram. So in that way, like in the small group, I'll say, you got 6 right, now you color in this box for 6, but I do it in a smaller group setting, maybe during daily 5 or something like that. So that way I know that they know where to color in, and they're not coloring in 6 boxes like they did on their student chart. And so I'll do that with them in a small group, maybe once or twice. And then after that, they understand how to do that. Then at that point, I feel like I can pass it around. And even if someone doesn't understand it, I feel like the rest of the students at the table are watching and can kind of hold each other accountable. If someone makes a mistake, we just cross it out and fix it. It's not a big deal.
So then I saw you in the math fluency, you had 2 students scoring the papers and making the histogram and everything.
Yes, I trained those 2 girls. Those girls are trustworthy, and they have good attendance. They're here a lot, so I know that they're mostly not going to be absent on the days that we do fact fluency. They're bright students, and so what I have out for them is the key, and they have to divide the papers into 2 equal parts so they can each correct the same amount of papers, and then they just go to town and correct. Then they'll total up with the iPad. One girl will be the reader. She'll read the total. The other girl has the iPad and is adding the numbers. And then they will also go ahead and do the histogram for us. They put the students' papers inside the student folders and everything. I worried a little bit about it being discretionary, just so the students didn't know whose paper it was. So we put the names on the back, and so they can't see whose paper they're correcting.
You're doing math fluency, spelling, you've got reading levels, you've got the sight words for your.
Yes.
Are you thinking about anything else?
We also do math as well, not math fluency, but
standards
also
and
math as well.
fluency.
Yes.
Okay.
We always like to try to just use LtoJ in a way that, in anything that we feel where the students could see their information, their data, and their growth. We have graphed individual reading levels as well. That's a piece that we didn't do, I don't feel, as strongly as we could have done this year. It was more teacher run. I would do more recording. So next year, I would like my goal to be to have the students be more independent on graphing their reading levels each month.